Okay, so hi everybody. I don't know if you guys heard that we had a shooting today in Texas at an elementary school where they killed 18 children and one adult. The shooter was also killed along with a number of other persons who were shot and are hospitalized. I'm not quite my niece here, Andrea. I want to find out how she feels. Just give me a take on how she feels going to school and about the whole situation. Come on, Andrea.
Being that the shooter was my age, it just doesn't sit right. Because I study psychology at college. And it's like, obviously, there is some, like, inner workings of the brain that makes people do certain things like that.
Yeah.
So whether it be childhood trauma, whatever, people are also responsible for their actions regardless of what happens to them in this life. So it's like,
doesn't sit well with you.
It doesn't make sense. Like, what causes you to get up like one day and just go shoot up a school with kids and adults and all of that? Like, what did they do to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes no sense, honestly. So,
Yeah.
Personally, my safety wise, obviously we go out in the world every day concerned with our own safety because anything can happen in this crazy country. But it's always been a worry because things like that happened when I was in like middle school, elementary school. You grow up learning about these school shootings, and you're like, okay, so it's only a matter of time before it happens to me while I'm in school because everybody's doing it everywhere. And it's like, it just it's a problem that we don't really like to address. By we, I mean the government. You're not the government, but you know. But yeah, it's like, it just don't make no sense. Because no matter what happens to you in this life, like, okay, childhood trauma, yes, something happens to you that kind of messes up the inner workings of your brain. That doesn't mean pick up a gun and kill a bunch of people. That's not what that means.
Right.
But it's like, I have no real answer because I don't understand it myself. Like, probably something from with, like, once you're born, there's something like a little off, and then something else happens to you to trigger something else, and that's why we have killers and things like that. But it never made sense because you have to consciously make those decisions, and those people who actually like have mental illnesses like that, it doesn't make sense for like me with maybe depression or some other bipolar disorder, like anything like that. I still wouldn't see in my brain, it wouldn't make sense to pick up a gun and go shoot up a school, especially like a place that I've never like been. I just like, it makes no sense, you know?
So as a future psychologist, do you think this is gonna trigger off some other persons to do the same thing?
I mean, again, you are responsible for your individual actions. So I feel like people can take quote unquote inspiration from these things, and obviously we've had shootings in the past, so people take that idea and say, hey, I feel the same way this person did, or I think I feel the same way this person did, and they took this course of action, so I'm going to take the same course of action. So I feel like unless things actually start to change when it comes to like helping like mental health issues and like coming together to like really focusing on what causes these kind of problems, then there's going to continue to be shootings. There's going to continue to be people who feel like they should like take up arms and go against everybody in their own like personal morals and do this, that, the third, whether that be shoot up a school, shoot up a store, or anything like that.
Okay. So, because something must have triggered him off because he killed his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, she died, and I'm wondering whether or not maybe the grandmother was trying to stop him from committing this gruesome crime, and he just decided to turn on her and then went on his way because he even crashed the car. What would trigger him to just crash the car before? Yeah, but you're going back to school tomorrow, and you're probably wonder whether or not this may be happening or gonna happen in your school. So this is gonna affect a number of kids.
Of course.
Tomorrow we may have a lot of persons not going to school, right? But tell me what you think the government or the Congress should do to stop these kind of things from happening.
I mean, I don't think that there's an outward way to stop it altogether, but I think that there's ways we can start to like prevent it. So it's like people in power need to realize that, okay, maybe in their day and age, mental health was not as like
prevalent,
like focused on. It existed, of course, because but it hadn't been like seen as really important. So with that, we need to realize that mental health plays a part in who people are completely and the actions that they take as well. So it's like for the people in power to just talk about it after the fact and not actually take some real action by like maybe keeping up, like putting more resources into like mental health professionals, getting people like real help and not judging people for having mental health issues, because I'm not justifying anything that goes on because it still makes no sense to me. But if that person, the person who did the shooting, who's dead now because they found a way to solve the problem, I guess, maybe they had a previous like mental health concern, you were concerned for them, and that was just pushed aside because mental health isn't really focused on. That possibly could have been prevented. This shooting possibly could have been prevented if you had taken the time out to focus on said mental health issue. So honestly, I feel like more attention should be paid to, one, mental health, and two, yes, there should be definitely gun control, because why you as an 18, I'm 18, what do I need a gun for? Like, it makes no sense. So it's like, put more emphasis on helping those who need help. And I get it's a constitutional right to bear arms or whatever, but they're taking away constitutional right to body privileges anyway, so they take away another one. Like, anyways. But yeah, so the government has the power to, if not stop it completely, like take steps to prevent it. Put in better gun control. An 18-year-old should not be able to obtain a weapon, especially if a mental health check was not made before like licensing the gun. Like, however they obtain the gun should have not been in place as an 18-year-old anyway.
All right.
But yeah.
Yeah, because just like how they're trying to stop persons from having abortions, right? They most can stop people from
getting guns.
Right? So I understand exactly what you're saying. But Andrea, thank you so much for your input in this whole scenario that is taking place. I mean, it's a crazy day we're living in, crazy time. And I think one of the reasons is that we have taken out this religion, God, out of schools, and see the monsters have now grown. So all right, so thank you guys for watching, and as usual, subscribe. Andrea,
don't forget to subscribe.
All right, like, share, and leave a comment. All right, thank you guys.